The Sycamore Trees. Welcome to Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm your host, Ben Durant, and beside me is...
Bryon Kazaska.
Hi, Bryon.
Hey, Ben. Today's show is very, very super special.
We're winding down on the air, and we are so lucky to get Ian Buchanan, Lester guy himself, on the show to talk to him about Twin Peaks and on the air.
So without further ado, Ian Buchanan.
Well, thank you for your time. It's great to get to talk to you.
Well, yes, I'm very happy to talk to you. Nancy said she had a wonderful time, so...
Yeah, I mean, Nancy was awesome, and she was really cool.
Yeah, she's great. She's a nice lady.
So I'd love to start off talking to you about, like, maybe your earlier life. That, you know, am I right that your first real experience in front of the camera was as a model?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, well, as an adult, but I had my aunt and uncle were photographers, so we were always getting photographs as children. My elder brother more than I, but I made up for that as I got older. So.
Isn't that something? Wow. And how did you get into acting?
I was modeling in London, and the Ford model agency brought me to America. And as soon as I got to New York, I thought, well, maybe now's the time. I was like, 24. I thought maybe now's the time I should look towards something else. And I went to Lee Strasberg, the Theatre Institute, for 2 years, and then got to observe at the Actors Studio for a couple of years and studied with another coach, and that was how I started. So lost my accent, like fairly a bit of it. Tried to mellow it out, and with Kiri Sedgwick's mother was my vocal coach, and Don Lawrence was another vocal coach I had. And then I showcased like some stuff around New York City and at the Actors Studio, and got an agent, and then got signed by ABC to do soap opera. So.
Yeah, I think about it. You've been doing soaps for over 30 years, which is so impressive.
Very.
I know people who've been doing it for like 40 years.
Oh my gosh, isn't that something?
Sort of impressive, but also depressing, I think. The fact that I remember doing this stuff when I went back to General Hospital for their 50th anniversary and doing the press, and we'd been there for the 25th anniversary, and I remember thinking then, people that had been on the show for 25 years, I thought, why would you want to be anywhere for 25 years? And here I was, 25 years later, thinking, wow, got to be careful. The words that you speak have to be sweet and tender because you eventually have to eat them. I was like, aha, there we go.
Yeah. It's also kind of cool that you've been in 4 of the major soap operas. I think it's so impressive, too.
Yes, I have, including the three of the ones that are still on. I did actually Young and the Restless. I did a crossover. But I've been, all the remaining ones I've been on, and only one of the cancelled ones, All My Children. And Port Charles. I was on Port Charles. Also,
yeah, Port Charles, yeah.
The spin-off.
My stepmother watched General Hospital, so I would sneak in and I would watch it a little bit, and I watched a little bit of Port Charles back in the day, too. And I always thought you did a great job.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I thought you were great. I was always rooting for you. I thought you were a great character there.
Yeah, I like that character. We were a little... I actually just met Julie Carruthers, who was the producer of that, the other day for something, and she was, it was a little ahead of its time. It was a way ahead of it was between way after Dark Shadows, but just before True Blood and all the other, the whole vampire phenomenon. But we had a lot of fun. I just was back east with Lynn Herring and Ken Schreiner, and who else was there from Port Charles? I can't remember. We were talking about just how much fun people had asked us about it. Just what a fun show it was. It was really great. We had a lot of fun.
I was just gonna say, was it a week or two ago? It was only a few weeks ago that you were here, and we're on the East Coast, so we're in Massachusetts and Connecticut.
I was last Saturday. We were in Jersey, and then Sunday we were in Long Island.
Yeah,
Long Island, Huntington, I believe. It was such a those weekend things are such a whirl. Get in late Friday and get up early Saturday and do one thing, and then do a late Saturday thing, and then travel, then do an all-day Sunday, then get on a plane. So
Very busy.
It was this past weekend.
Isn't that
Wow,
something?
yeah.
So you also worked with David Lynch and Laura Flynn Boyle on Obsessions commercial. How was that?
That was great. That's when I first Joanna Ray, who cast most of David's stuff, I had met, and she cast me in the Obsession thing that David was directing. And that day, it was the day he shot it, was the day that I met him, and he asked if I could go meet him on the Tuesday with Joanna. That he said I would make a perfect dick.
And did you know what he was talking about?
Things, but yeah. So I went. I met them on a Tuesday, and I think started on the following Monday, I believe. I started my first episode. Yeah.
Wow,
that's so cool.
That quick. And did you know who David Lynch was before you did the commercial, or?
I did, and I did, but also, there was the buzz about Twin Peaks, which was airing already, and I'd heard, there'd been a lot of buzz about that, so it was kind of I was cast, and I don't think I was supposed to tell anybody, and I really didn't, but I went to a party on the Friday night and had a cocktail and told everybody. Everybody was like, oh my God, you're kidding. You really are going to be on Twitter? And I was like, really? Is it that big of a deal? Because I'd, been General Hospital and Gary Shandling and never really stopped working. I was always doing something. So I kind of was, I just finished the Columbo, I believe, for the Columbo Movie of the Week. And so I was like, well, yeah, I guess this is it. Here we go. So.
That's great.
That was the start of a whole different adventure and a whole different experience, which was very different from everything else I'd ever done. So.
Now, did you find it easy to transition from a soap opera to, a character? It's a little more slapsticky, especially like On the Air and Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I found it easy. I kind of wanted it. I'd only done General Hospital for 3 years, but I really kind of didn't feel like I always sort of felt more like a character actor and more like comedy, because I'd done performance stuff in performance art in New York, and I really didn't feel trapped inside this leading man thing. But I've gone on to prefer being a supporting character, because you get to do the heavy emotional lifting and stuff. So I kind of tried to do some of that with General Hospital, even the last go around, to make it make it more of a kind of the sort of character I like to play. But I like playing big, funny, big, kind of quirky. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your timing is great.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have great comic timing, and I'm so impressed how you're able to make Dick Tremaine kind of funny. And I don't know, you don't even have to say anything. It's like your body language sometimes made it so funny. And I wondered, you kind of said it, but I was wondering how you prepared for a role like that.
I actually am sort of one of those actors that really doesn't. I wouldn't know how to prepare for anything. So what I usually do is it's a wing and a prayer. But it's all kind of when you have the right costume and you have the right sort of the writing is good, and I kind of tend to I don't know, just absorb everything around me and then kind of react to that. And also I don't I'm not really influenced by much, because I'm kind of more of a reader than anything else. I sort of read a lot, but I think I like everything just a little off center, because I think it's and it's just more interesting, and I view everything that way. So it kind of makes it allows me to find something that's fairly unique, I think.
Yeah,
cool.
It works. And do you have a favorite?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really. Yeah. We do a show weekly, but I was rewatching your scenes in Twin Peaks, and it's like, wow, the timing of him, somebody says something, and then whether it be a smile or just the way your body movement is, and it's just like, wow, I'm so impressed at how you responded to another actor, and it really is impressive.
Thank you. Definitely sort of Dick had that kind of an attitude, and probably was so insecure he had this superiority complex, I think. And try to make himself the sort of the absolute arbiter of all taste and person who knew everything better than anybody else. And I think he covered up for his, he didn't. So that's what he kind of presented, which was all sort of, I don't think and most of it was very insincere. So that was kind of, I think, where all of that came from. Are they onto me? Kind of a beat, kind of. And of course, everybody was on to him, but I don't think he realized.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any favorite moments from filming Twin Peaks? Any favorite episodes?
Yes, I did. I'd many. I loved working with Harry Goers and with my lovely friend Kimmy Robertson. We had a little triangle that was going which wasn't unlike a soap opera, except it was kind of like a very funny, like a little love triangle. I loved working with David Lander. We had worked together previously, and again, many times. But the Pine Weasel, I think I liked. I thought that was I had no idea what that was about, what to expect from that. No idea how it would work. So I think got lucky with whoever directed it. The wine tasting, I really like, because I think it was Dick at his finest, being a dick.
Yes, yes.
Good evening. Evening all, and welcome to our onophiliac soiree. Another in a continuing series of public events sponsored by Horn Industries to benefit the Stop Ghostwood Development Movement.
Oh no, what?
Something to do with wine.
And now, our first wines this evening are reds. There are some schools of thought who, of course, say there are no other wines but reds. Yes, Andy?
There are also white wines and sparkling wines.
Thank you, Andy. And now that we're all poured, let us first examine... Don't taste it yet, Andy, for heaven's sake. Spit it out.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's what we're here for, to learn. Now to the wine. We must first examine the nose of the wine to see what it can tell us about its bouquet. And we do that by...
By smelling.
Very good, Lina. Lift the glass, thusly. And while rolling the wine vigorously around in the glass, we breathe deeply and fully. Very good. And now we take our first taste. A big, boisterous gulp. And we roll it around our entire palate. And we try to reach those little taste buds stuck way far at the back of the tongue, remembering not to swallow. Excellent. And now we spit.
Yeah, I loved all of it. I mean, all of it was just kind of, and the Miss Twin Peaks, the final sort of 2 episodes were really kind of very special too. Very nice to be part of that also. So.
And it was something that in that Miss Twin Peaks, actually Dick's character improved. Like he actually saw, like he found good or something. Like he did the right thing. He did. I like that he had a whole arc.
Redemption.
It was a redemption kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's redemption. Then he's gone. Never to be seen again. I just was with. Harry was here this weekend, so we were together on Monday reading for a class, a writing class. We read their scripts, and
oh wow!
We were just kind of laughing, kind of reminiscing about like not only how long it's been, but just we've been close ever since. We were,
And that's something. That's nice.
Yeah.
And I had heard you're almost in season 3, The Return. Can you share with us that almost happened?
Well, it almost, and I say it almost because I'd seen Joanna and several other people, and they basically, said, well, your name is coming up a lot. Well, I think it must have come up either way too much or maybe just not enough. But, but that's all right. I was totally, I see David all the time, and I was completely I was totally fine either being a part of it or not being a part, and also always being a part of it anyway. So whether.
Did you end up seeing season 3?
I don't watch anything, but I saw a little bit of it. I watched some of it, and I liked it. I really loved it. I thought it was everything that David would have done if Twin Peaks hadn't been on the network television. I think that's exactly what he would have done with it. But I saw it and I loved it. And a lot of my friends were in it. People who weren't in the original, like Candy Clark, and a lot of other old friends of mine here in town were actually got to do it. So that was great, very exciting. I'll watch it sometime. I generally only see stuff on planes, and I haven't seen it on a plane yet.
Oh, yeah, that would be a hard watch on a plane. It might be highly edited.
Well, I don't probably Game of Thrones that's what I watch usually, like when I fly. Or
Oh, yeah.
Peaky Blinders or something like that.
Yeah.
So, in season 3, did you get to see when we get to see Wally Brando, Andy and Lucy's child? Did you see that part at least? Now,
I did. I saw a little clip of that.
I also came back to let my parents know, because this has been a matter of grave concern for them, that I've decided to let them do what they wish with my childhood bedroom. They want to build a study with the two of them. Such sweet people.
Oh, that's such beautiful news, Wally. Tell us where you've been, Wally.
My family, my friend. I've crisscrossed this great land of ours countless times. I hold the map of it here, in my heart, next to the joyful memories of the carefree days I spent as a young boy here in your beautiful town of Twin Peaks. From Alexandria, Virginia, to Stockton, California, I think about Lewis and his friend Clark, the first Caucasians to see this part of the world. Their footsteps have been the highways and byways of my days on the road. My shadow is always with me. Sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. Except on cloudy days, or at night.
Yes, well, Wally, it's great to see you again. And may the road rise up to meet your wheels.
I thought you looked more like Dick's child.
yes, that's what we were going to say.
yes.
Like, I really think...
I think that's actually what Harry said. Harry was like, it was like he kind of, he was like more like Dick's child, like with his sense of style or whatever.
Yes!
I thought his mannerism, and he goes into a whole monologue, and
Marlon Brando monologue.
Either Andy or Lucy would go into a monologue, but Dick would spend a long time talking about himself. And
Yeah, it was your child the whole time.
That's funny. That's fun. Well, who knows?
So were you were filming On the Air and Twin Peaks at the same time? Is that right?
I think they overlap. Perhaps I'm not sure. I think Twin Peaks was still airing when we started On the Air.
Yeah.
I think Twin Peaks was actually just still airing. So I think that was the timing.
I was just thinking it must have been challenging for you if you had to go back and forth between the two shows.
No, I don't believe I did, actually. I think it was overlapping with something else that I was doing, but I think Twin Peaks was actually still airing. And we were doing the pilot of On the Air, which, I think that was the timing.
Yeah.
The final season, I think, of Twin Peaks, I think was still on while we were shooting that.
Yeah. Now, Mark Frost once said he wrote On the Air with particular actors from Twin Peaks in mind. Do you think Lester Guy was written specifically for you?
I don't know. I would like to think so. I think it was definitely.
I think so.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't offered to anybody else, and I think it was probably, I don't know, I think Miguel was definitely somebody, that they'd written Buddy Butwaller. It was definitely written for Miguel.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm so impressed, with your physical comedy on the air. I mean, the extent that you went, and do you have a story about the whole rope experience of getting
hung upside down?
Yeah.
The rope?
Yeah, the rope.
Oh, that was horrible. That was horrifying. I read that, and I kind of read it the way actors read everything else, and I was read it, and I was like, okay, stunt guy, fine, stunt guy. Oh, then close up of my head in the dog food. Well, that's a piece of cake. And on the morning we were going to shoot it, never crossed my mind. And David came to my trailer or my dressing room and said, Lester, it's David. I was like, oh, hi. He goes, well, now listen, we've got somebody here who's going to fit you for a harness. I said, a harness? A harness for what? He said, well, to have you upside down, Lester. But like me, I went into like a sheer laugh. I said, I can't be upside down. Like, that's ridiculous. Oh, no, your head will be, 2 feet off the ground. I said, even 2 feet off the ground, upside down, like, that's ridiculous. He goes, no. People, like, so 10 minutes later, I'm still saying no, and the harness is on. The harness is fitted, the harness is on, and 1 hour later, the rope is being sort of tied around the harness, which was a Hessian rope. I remember this very clearly. And David and everybody standing there saying, and I'm sitting, like, lying on my back on the ground, and David's going, right, okay, right, great, now just, haul away. And they start winching up the rope, and I go sort of higher and higher and higher till I think maybe, I don't know, like 10 feet, 15 feet off the ground with my head. Then the rope starts to spin, because it's Hessian rope, and nobody's thought that it was unwind. So the rope starts to spin, and I'm going faster and faster. And everybody's just looking, and I'm going, just everybody, like from upside down, I can see their faces and their mouths open, like. Then it stops. Then it starts to go the other way, spins down the other way. And nobody thought to say, get him down. So David finally said, grab him, get him down from there. So they then tried a piece of fishing wire from my arm, somebody holding it at the side, to see if that would stabilize it. But then the fishing wire ended up wrapped all around me. So it was, by the time they got it right, I was totally numb to the whole thing. But it was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Really, it was great fun.
You're a trooper. Wow.
2 days I was upside down, I think.
Oh, my God.
That's something. Wow.
For 2 days. But I'm glad I did it, and there was no stuntman in sight, I have to say.
And you went on, throughout the whole series, you went on to really do great physical work. I just love the way that you totally went into it and fall all over, and it was a
I know. I think I've always done, even on stage, I've done like stuff like that, and paying for it now with, like back issues and stuff that everybody does. I think it's just, but it was great fun. I loved all that.
Yeah.
I'd do it all again. I wouldn't do it any differently. It's very rewarding and very satisfying, but
We interviewed Nancy Ferguson, and she said how much she loved working with you, and that you guys have been great friends. And this is after we did our interview. She shared with me that you guys actually did a publicity, and I think you went to Rome, and you guys went. Can you share with us that I think David actually had you guys go other places to publicize on the air?
Yeah, he did. We went to Rome together, which was we had a great time. I think Nancy and I had such a great time anyway that I think the people handling the publicity in Rome, like we said, well, we don't need to go home, we can stay, and they were like kind of like trying to be polite, basically saying, well, no, you've got to get out of here because there's more people coming for something else. We don't want you. We had a great time, and we had a great time in the city, and the publicity itself was, it's always hard work, but we had some great free time. I went to Tokyo for both Twin Peaks and On the Air, and then I went to Paris for Twin Peaks and On the Air also. So I did I did a lot of the international stuff. So it was all great fun.
And I think I heard that you had an on the air dance you had to do for a Japanese show. Can you share that with us?
Now, the funny thing is, when I did that, I thought nobody will ever see it, nobody will ever talk about it. Here you are bringing it up.
You didn't know you were getting.
They put it up. Nobody told me, and I kind of went to this studio and they mocked out the lamppost with and I was like, "Are you people serious?" And they're like, "Yeah, do the let the guy dance." I was like, "Oh gosh, yeah, I can remember, but now you're not gonna. The lamppost isn't gonna fall over, is it?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "You promise me? You're serious? I'm not gonna be hanging on to that, and you're gonna press a button, and I'm gonna fly off the side of the stage." Oh. No. So I was like, with trepidation, I did the I tried to remember. It was 2 years later, I think. Tried to remember the choreography of Lester's, interpretive.
Yeah, that's great.
Lester's interpretive dance, which, of course, I think, since the choreographer only appeared at the pilot, as I did that dance any other time, it was just me making it all up. So, I don't like. I'm sure it was very similar, but I remember kind of basically the moves. It really, it actually made me crack up. It makes me crack up now thinking about it because he was so serious and earnest about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he really wanted to be, the same as he was with the beats and, he wanted to be groovy and didn't want to be, he wanted to be as far away from washed up as possible. So he was totally into this whole interpretive dance. It's the new thing. It's the new movement. It's the new whatever.
One of my favorite things.
Lester.
Yeah, my favorite things in the pilot is Lester's he's practicing his dance, and he gets really upset at everybody because they're talking while he's doing that. But I just love that you just make this face, and everybody should know, how dare you you talk to me while I'm practicing my dance? But
yeah, I make that face on stage at some of these phone rings. Believe me, it's like don't be talking when I'm doing my best. Be quiet.
And speaking of dancing and music, you got to spend some time with Angelo Badalamenti during On the Air?
Yes.
How was that?
I did, Angelo. I got to sit in a rehearsal hall with him while he composed. He was actually composing, I think, the opening for the Olympics, which were in Barcelona that year. He had composed that while he was with us. And then he composed all the little, Lester's little musical numbers, which I can still remember.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I still remember them. It's so funny. He composed those, which were really, really. I can't remember how many of them. There was one. I did one with Betty, and did one with. Can't remember. Yeah, it was great. I mean, that itself was just so wonderful. Completely,
it is great music.
Yeah,
I just saw him. Actually, I just saw Angelo with. His wife was here last year, I think, for the Festival of Disruption, David's event, and I go to that every year, but I saw him last year. Sweet, always such a sweet, wonderful gentleman with his wife, and he just has a little camera. He wants to take his photograph, be photographed with everybody. And I was there with Eddie Harry, and he wanted to take pictures, and it was he was so sweet and lovely, for this genius of a man.
He was in New York about a week or so ago. There's a new album for the Thought Gang, which he did with David Lynch.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but he had a whole signing he was doing in New York about a week or so ago. So we were hoping we could see him.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. How nice. So great.
And talking about music and dance, you mentioned at USC screening On the Air, you mentioned about how the year 1957 was kind of a time of repression, but also the era of rebellion. Can you elaborate about that? I think that you were kind of talking about really the dance, and maybe talking about episode 7 about the beatnik and all that.
Yeah, I think I think establishment felt a great threat from this change, and it was going from it was the cusp of rock and roll basically. The Beatles were a couple of years later, but people had been Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Andy Williams, all this kind of, and now suddenly there was this. I mean, even Frank Sinatra, I think, kind of changed. He sort of with the Bobby Soxers and all of that, but it was this whole change, and it was very threatening. I think it was very threatening to society, the way things, even always are. People who are very set in their ways, don't want to be rocked and don't want to be forced to look at things differently. And, it's even when Joni Mitchell came along and Joan Baez, and, they kind of shook things up. So I think that is, On the Air was around that. It was kind of it was also the eve of, the beginning of live television, variety shows. And people have been used to the radio. And now I can't remember the percentage of homes that had televisions. There wasn't very many, I think, way back. That's the other thing I love On the Air, when they show the audience at home.
Oh, I love that too.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought that was so genius. That was actually one of my favorites. So when the audience at home,
and sometimes they'd be in strange locations, or they'd be at the kitchen, or they'd be in the living room. I think there was one where they were in a hospital.
Yeah, in episode 7, it was 2 dogs watching.
I think wasn't somebody in a stable with their horse.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it was really, really, really clever. I loved all of that. It was just brilliant.
In talking about your dance, it seemed like almost made me think of like Singing in the Rain, or it was a little bit more. I don't know. It was like old fashioned, but then you have by the end in episode 7, you have the beatnik who. She's doing the woman with no name, and she's just doing something kind of radical dancing and stuff.
And you're trying to change it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was great. We've just finished covering
On the air.
and I felt like the last episode was kind of a message to us about like let the freaks
Your freak flag fly.
right, that we should be out there, and I don't know.
Yeah. I think. Well, how many did you see? Was that the last one that you saw?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I didn't. Everybody said. I think there were 9. I think we did 9. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
So there's-
it was like.
I think there was
6 that people have seen, and there's 3 missing episodes that disappeared someplace. But I think we did 9 now.
it's possible.
I think.
So there were 7 episodes released on a
VHS, or
Laserdisc in
Laserdisc,
Japan.
right. But it only aired 3.
They only aired 3, so
In
we
the
have
US.
7. So you're saying
So it's possible. It
they're
could be
possible
the lost episodes
two
of On the
episodes?
Air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Nancy and I talked about that. I think there were 2, but 2 or 3 that nobody had ever seen. I
Wow.
mean, I think I may have scripts someplace. I have to look.
I'd be curious to know about
Check
that.
them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Mark Frost keeps saying that at some point they might release it in some format, whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming. But it sounds like they've remastered it, and one of these days maybe they'll release it. We're hoping.
I hope so. I ran into Betty Thomas, and she still talks about it, and Leslie Linka Glatter, she still talks about it. Because we had a lot of fun, But as Nancy and I said, and even Miguel, who was more seasoned than any of us, we said, "Are we really supposed to be having this much fun? Do you think this is a good thing?" Like we were kind of just loved it. We just loved it every day. We loved it. We loved going to work. We loved the whole. We loved every aspect of it, and then of course, loving it so much, you see what happened to it.
I feel
I've
like
never loved that. I've never loved anything that much again. So.
Aw.
I feel like your love for the show shined in the characters. Like there was a sense watching it that all these characters were happy, and I don't know. There's something special I feel with this show, and I feel like.
And On the Air was ahead of its time because it was a comedy show with no laugh track.
Yeah.
Which was refreshing. Yeah. That's something you didn't see back then that much.
And now we see it all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think we kind of knew it was going to be very different. It was kind of, we just thought it was great. We couldn't understand why everybody wouldn't love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people did. A lot of the TV critics initially were like, they loved the pilot, of course, because David directed it, and it was kind of, but a lot of people really kind of liked it and thought it was going to maybe change, break the mold, and make, be a different, which it was, but as Twin Peaks had done. But as David, whenever he was asked that, he would always say, "Well, Gunsmoke did the same thing, and so did Wagon Train. So everything comes along and changes, and we see that every couple of seasons. There's a show kind of out the gate that then changes the way television looks. So it's kind of, we thought that was going to be us."
Totally. And Bob Angles has said that, like, he had talked to Jerry Seinfeld. They were shooting right next to On the Air, and Jerry Seinfeld's like, "You guys are going to go on for years and years, and we're going to get canceled." And stuff.
Wow.
I know. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that?
And also, I remember, we had a close set, and Miguel's cousin, George Clooney, was doing Roseanne on the other soundstage, and came over and asked if he can get on the set, and Miguel was like, "No, it's a closed set. You can't get on there."
I think he wanted to see David Lynch. I think he wanted to see.
He did, but then I remember. But George said, "But your mom was here yesterday. I know she was." She was. Rosemary Clooney had been on the set the day before.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's funny. Can you imagine keeping George Clooney out of the set these days? I don't. Man.
Yeah, I know. Wow, that's so cool.
And do you have a favorite episode of On the Air?
I kind of like the Mr. Peanuts one.
Yeah,
I like
that.
I like that, bringing on that kind of over-the-top Betty Davis, the guest thing. I liked that. The reason I liked it, which I guess, I don't know whether Andy's ever talked about it, but it wasn't Mr. Peanuts, it was Mr. Penis. He can put a smile and turn it upside down. Mr. Penis. We were all singing that, which I'm not sure how we got away with it, but we did.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I like that. I like the Stan Tailings one with the Ducks. I really liked when Stan Tailings came.
Oh yeah,
The great English actor who every time he spoke, he just coughed and couldn't get the words out. And,
yeah, Freddie Jones.
Yeah, Freddie Jones.
yeah, Freddie. Yeah, I loved that. I loved them all. They were all different. I
Yeah.
loved.
I'm so glad you brought Mr. Peanuts, because I feel like there's a lot of innuendos. There's like Lester is doing a commercial for pipes, and he's saying Mr. and Mrs. Pipes, and
Yeah, laying the pipes.
laying the pipes.
Yeah, that was very.
There's a few of them. Like there's one where was it episode 6? Was there? Which one was about going downtown?
That's episode 7.
Oh, 7.
Going
Yeah,
downtown. Yeah.
That was the beach. Yeah, that was the beach going. Have you ever been downtown?
And Nicole says, "I've been downtown with Lester."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. That's great.
Yeah, he was funny. Yeah.
Well, that's most of our on-the-air coverage stuff that we want to talk to you with, but I was just curious, you were involved with the Citizen Band, and I'd love it if you talk a little bit about that, and it seemed a really interesting group.
That was great. I loved that. And we kind of, we had a nice long, sort of, I guess, 6-7 years from the first Obama election, second Obama election. We kind of didn't do anything before 2016. I think we're in New York, and then actually, I think the night before Sandy hit town was our last big show, and I think that everything got flooded in that theater, all of our costumes and everything. So I think got on a flight to get out and do General Hospital the next day. So I got out, and then I think we lost everything. But I'm trying to think if we did get back together for something else. I'm not sure we did. We had a great time. You know, the album, we recorded an album which wasn't, I don't think, the best, because our whole rehearsal process was much more interesting, and then our just live performances, I think, were just so extraordinary. Like we did South by Southwest for Warby Parker, and you know, we played out here. We did private groups. We did, you know, the opening of something in Aspen, but we were very political. And Sarah Sophie Flicker, who actually was one of the founders, is now, you know, like the Women's March. She's one of the founders of the Women's March. So
Cool.
Wow.
That's great.
Went on to do some other things. Karen Elson, of course, is, you know, still like beautiful and working away. We had some great guests, like great, wonderful people. You Don't Own Me. What's her name? The year before she passed away, she actually, I think our last show, she came on stage and sang that because, you know, it was about abortion.
Wow.
What is the name? That wonderful Leslie Gore.
Oh,
okay.
wow. Yeah, and for people that don't know, this is like an avant-garde cabaret kind of.
Well, it was like a Weimar Republic, which is, you know, between Germany before the Second World War, when everybody was expressing themselves through theater and before they were being repressed. And, you know, we did it through very highly stylized, like with great, you know, makeup and great costumes and, you know, live orchestra on. I said orchestra, everybody else said band, but I like orchestra better. Live orchestra on stage with, you know, just some great singers. Cyndi Lauper was with us once, Alan Cumming twice, and we were once part of an installation for Jeffrey Deitch, one of his installations, so we would be in different galleries doing our stuff, and yeah, it was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
That sounds awesome.
I feel like you need to bring it back. I mean, it needs to be like, it needs to be something. I mean, now more than ever, I think we need things like this in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know, we all talk, see each other, and you know, Rain Phoenix, I see all the time, and she was, you know, she and I did like paired up a lot to do different stuff. We did great, you know, big musical numbers, and, you know, with showgirls and
That's awesome.
and everything else, and it was great. I look at some of the photographs actually when I'm scrolling through, looking for a turn back. What's it called? Turn back Thursday.
Oh, Throwback Thursday. Yeah.
I scroll through my photographs and I go, I don't know if people are ready for that.
That's great.
I'll save that for maybe I don't know, like Throw Up Tuesday or something.
Now, do you have anything currently you're doing you want to promote? Anything coming out?
You know, nothing. No, I've actually been taking it easy, which I kind of. It was by design. I was doing back doing soap operas and realizing that I didn't really like the just the whole process that much and I used to love it, and I thought I had to kind of maybe, as I always sort of like as I have been, I wouldn't say accused, but several times when I do a lot of theater stuff, especially here in LA, the LA Times take great delight in telling me that I do like a fairly good job, but even though I struggle like very hard, I can never escape my urbanity. So I tell everybody, I've taken a year off to see if I can outgrow my urbanity. Get back to you and let you know how it worked.
Aww.
So it's been kind of nice actually. So I feel less urbane than I once was, and I feel like a lot happier. And we'll see what comes up. I'm discussing stuff, but everything is different, and I like the change and stuff. I like the way things have. I like doing streaming stuff. I did a streaming thing for Amazon. I liked it. I liked the quality. It was fast. I liked everything about it. So
Awesome.
I'm looking at that. Yeah.
Well, Ian, thank you so much for your time. It's been great talking with you. Really so impressed with your work, and it's been really special to be able to get to talk to you about it.
Well, thank you, Ben and Bryon. I appreciate it. It's been great fun talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you again. And when I have something to sell, I'll look you up.
Sounds good. Maybe if there's a season 4 of Twin Peaks, you'll get on the show and we can talk about that, or who knows?
Yeah, it'd be all about you, Dick, in season 4.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Maybe. I wouldn't. I've never known how to make things happen. Things either happen or they don't. I just prefer it that way. So that's
nice.
Fine.
And it seems like it's worked out for you.
I always say.
Yeah.
Well, I always prefer things to unfold rather than me unravel. So it's better.
Awesome.
Much better.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
You too.
You too.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Good day, Dick.
Hello, Andy. This is little Nicky, my charge from Happy Helping Hand. Nicky, this is Deputy Andy.
How do you do, young fella?
Hi.
Andrew, old boy, little Nicky and myself, we just came from Horn's department store where Nicky was fitted for a new wardrobe. And now we're on our way for a malted, and we were hoping Lucy could come with us.
Oh, shoot, Dick. Lucy's up at the Great Northern, helping with the Milford wedding.
Oh, God, that's right. Doogie's getting married again.
Lucy's not here? Does this mean we can't go out for a malted?
Yes, unfortunately. We'll have to go some other time.
But you promised. Can we go?
You know, Dick, it's close to my lunch hour. If you'd like, Nicky, I'd sure enjoy taking you two guys out for a malted. How would that be?
Oh, boy.
Thank you, Ian Buchanan. He's so generous with his time. It was so great talking. I think we got a couple nuggets I'd never heard about on the air.
The penis thing?
Mr. Penis.
I'm still flabbergasted by that.
I think this proves my point that this show had a lot of innuendos.
Yes,
It
I think
did,
so.
yeah.
It has a
I love
lot
it.
of, yeah.
And so did Twin Peaks, really. I mean,
But this more. On the air.
Really?
I think On the Air had way more.
All right.
I do.
Maybe.
I feel like it was 7 episodes jam-packed of innuendos, where Twin Peaks was scattered throughout.
Yeah. But so nice of Ian. It was so good talking with him.
Yes.
What a career he's had. I mean, over 30 years in the business, and I'm really excited to see what he does next.
From commercials to soap operas to
Twin Peaks and On the Air.
Amazing. And I love the fact that he still looks at On the Air very fondly.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And he stays close with, both On the Air people and Twin Peaks, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, fantastic. So, we are winding down on the air, like Ben said. We only have episodes 6 and 7 left. So, watch those episodes. We'll be talking about them in the next couple weeks. Also, we have the best of. It's landing. It's coming down the chimney on Christmas Eve morning. You will get our best of.
It's a big present.
It's going to be a big one.
If you've listened to our stuff from last year or previous years, you know how special it is. You know that the community comes together and they give you a present for Christmas.
We are so lucky this year. We got a lot of new voices, some old favorite voices, and I think it's going to be, I think we might top last year's best of.
Can't wait to hear it.
Me too. Because the elves, they're editing it right now.
The elves. The Twin Peaks Unwrapped elves.
Elves are right now
Yes.
getting that.
We just
that
give them,
stuff.
like, here's all our clips. You make something out of it.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. So that's going to happen very shortly on Christmas Eve. Watch On the Air episodes 6 and 7. And we'll be ringing in the new year 2019 very shortly. We have some ideas, fresh ideas for 2019 that we hope we can do. And we hope everybody gets to join us.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So if you have a comment, a question, a theory, or you want to talk about On the Air or David Lynch or Twin Peaks, send us an email at twinpeaksunwrapped@gmail.com. Also, feel free to share and like us on Facebook. Let's hit the big number.
The big 2,000.
The big 2,000. I'm going to make 2019 2,000. We're going to hit it. Also, you can follow us on the Twitter.
Great community. Gotta love them.
Gotta love the Twitter. It's a great time. Also, you can listen to us on Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. Give us that 5-star review. A nice little review. 2 seconds of your time. It will just get us out there more. Also, if you want to support us, visit TeePublic. The link is in the show notes. Buy a shirt, a t-shirt, sweatshirt, a mug, a sticker. A portion of that comes to us, and we'll keep the lights on for one more year. And right now, we're in the holiday season, so I'm sure there's some sales going on. There's sales going on everywhere right now. TeePublic is no exception. Go in there and get something for yourself or a loved one.
Definitely. And we have our partners 25 years later, and they did an interview with Ian Buchanan as well. I think maybe it was a year or so ago. I would recommend going to their website and seeing that interview. They also have covered On the Air, and they, of course, they have other great television and film articles on a daily basis. So go check out 25 Years Later site.
It always makes me feel like I'm not watching TV enough.
Right?
I look at stuff going, man, I got to start watching stuff.
There's no time for it all.
Yeah, I'm like so behind. I give up.
They do 2 articles a day. We're not going to be able to cover everything.
No.
And they're amazing.
You know, growing up, there was a thing we used to say, I have 52 channels and there's nothing on. Now the new saying is, I have six streaming services and there's way too much good stuff on.
It's true.
That is the new, there's nothing on. There's too much good things on. It's overwhelming.
And you've already cut the cord, but you know, I'm in the middle, which I'm kind of like having it all. I'm using my DVR, recording all kinds of stuff, but then I've got the Hulu, the Amazon, the Netflix, HBO Go.
It's like you're double dipping almost.
I'm double dipping it, but I've got too much. I'm gonna get myself sick. It's like Thanksgiving. It's like I ate too much, and I'm just like I can't eat anymore.
I know, and yeah, it becomes that point. You're just kind of like, I pick one thing, I watch it, and then 5 things come out that weekend, and I'm like, I can't keep track of it all. I don't know. Netflix puts out. What? They're going to put 700 shows out this year alone in 2019?
It's unbelievable.
Or more?
It's so much.
It's beyond.
Yes.
Beyond, I
But
can
right
consume.
now, we're covering On the Air, and we'll be going back to Twin Peaks. And
I like hyper-focused on the air.
Yes, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. So we'll see you guys next week for On the Air, episode 6.
See you next week.
Your Uncle Sammy. Then go back to your home of the sea, to the man from where you came, whatever be its name. But don't be ungrateful to me. If you don't like the stars, you know, glory. If you don't like the red, white, and blue, then don't act like the car in the story. Don't like the hand that's feeding you. Do you recall the day you died? illusion.